Hello, friends. The river hums a tune older than the oldest caravan bell. I watch its surface break into tiny ripples, imagining each as a hoofprint, a wheel track, a merchant's song floating on the wind. In the Vedic world, trade was never just business. It was the pulse that kept kingdoms alive, temples wealthy, and stories traveling further than any single wanderer could. Cattle, for instance, were more than livestock. They were wealth itself. Owning herds meant status, bargaining power, and even political leverage. A chieftain rich in cows was a chieftain with influence. They weren't just traded, they were gifted in alliances, demanded in tribute, and offered in grand sacrifices. When a poet praised a king, it wasn't his gold they counted first, it was his cattle. Then came iron. Its arrival was like unlocking a new level in the game of life. Iron plows tore deeper into the soil. Iron weapons changed the balance of power, and iron tools made craft faster and stronger. Suddenly, regions that were once isolated could support bigger populations. And bigger populations meant more surplus, which meant more trade. Trade routes were arteries of this world. Some were dusty tracks winding through forest and field. Others hugged the rivers where loaded boats glided between markets. The great rivers, Sarasvati, Ganga, Yamuna, were not just sacred waters, they were highways. Along them, goods traveled, but so did ideas. A song sung in one village might be known 100 miles away by the time the season changed. Markets were not mere stalls under the sun, they were living theaters. Imagine the smell of ghee sizzling in clay pans, the tang of fermented drinks, the gleam of polished copper, the earthy aroma of fresh grain. Traders haggled in sharp, quick phrases. Storytellers spun tales to draw a crowd near their wares. Priests chanted blessings over cattle sales, reminding buyers that every transaction was under divine watch. But here's the twist. Commerce in the Vedic world wasn't purely secular. The economy was deeply sacred. Temples were treasuries, festivals were economic booms, and religious offerings could rival taxes in their importance. Cattle given to priests weren't just gifts, they were spiritual investments. Iron tools donated to a sacred fire ceremony weren't simply lost, they were transformed into merit, carried into the next life. And yet, travel wasn't just for merchants. Pilgrims, poets, envoys, wandering sages, they all flowed along these same routes. A single road could see an ox cart of barley, a line of cows, a barefoot bard, and a royal messenger all in one afternoon. The world was interconnected, not by empires, but by the steady rhythm of exchange. Still, commerce had its shadows. Raiders saw wealth on the move as an irresistible prize. River floods could cut off trade for months. And every merchant knew that the road could be as treacherous as it was rewarding. But risks were taken, because the alternative, staying still, meant missing out on the pulse of the age. I let the water slip past my fingers and think of how trade carried more than goods, it carried change. Every iron blade, every sack of barley, every sacred cow on the move was a step toward transformation. And in times of change, not everyone agreed on the path forward. New voices began to rise, questioning rituals, challenging priestly authority, and offering different visions of truth. But that is a story for next time, when the air will be thick with debates and the land will tremble under the footsteps of wandering seekers.